study sutras number 26 and 27. And before we get into that, let's just recap a little bit what we've already learned, because it's all linked together. So I think in Sutra number 22, we understood that one of the paths of a yogi towards samadhi is surrender to Ishvara or God.
Right.
And then in 24 and 25, we understood deeper and deeper what is the meaning of Ishvara or God according to yogis, according to the Yoga Sutras. So now we're entering into Sutra number 26 and 27, which will perhaps deepen this understanding of ours, of Ishvara, and help us to understand not only about the meaning of God, but existence as a whole.
Right.
So if we can just start, please, with Sutra number 26 and understand what is it called and what does it mean exactly.
So Sutra number 26 is saying, Purve Shamapi Guru Kalenan Vachedat. The word Purve Shamapi means previously, which is coming from previously, like all the coming from the before. Those are coming from before Guru. Those have been the Guru before, it is saying, they are Kalenan Vachedat, means they are beyond the time, which is because of which is beyond the time.
Right.
The actual meaning of this sutra is not being limited by the time. He is the Guru of the earliest Guru. He means he is denoting to Ishvara. Like Ishvara is not limited with the time. That's why Ishvara is Guru of all the Gurus.
Yes.
So here we need to understand what does it mean by not being limited with the time.
Yes.
So if we, because whole Yoga Sutra is a study of consciousness, a study of our, our thinking, our behavior, way of looking at the world, our attitude, everything.
Yes.
So now I need to understand what is limited with the time and what is not limited with the time. First, we understand what is time. So let's take a look about time. So time is actually a measurement of change. In existence, there are a lot of changes are happening throughout continuously. There are many changes, like it is morning, then it is afternoon, winds are blowing, there is a change, temperature is changing.
Yes.
The timing changing, dates changing, years and days and months. There is a change. How we measure the change, it's through time.
Right.
Like my age is time. I am 27-year-old, so it is a time.
Yes.
It's years are representing time. And how it is possible? Because there are changes coming physically, mentally, psychologically, through which we are seeing there is a time inside. Let's suppose if nothing changed in the existence, nothing changed, wind stopped as it is, sun is stopped wherever it is, everything is stopped, nothing changed, then I think clock will be the most nonsense object in the existence.
Right.
Because there is no point of clock or years or date, right? So we need to understand that our consciousness with which we are living is living under time, means under changes, right? We are bounded with it.
Yes.
Because my consciousness understand as something as called death.
Right.
That I die.
Yes.
And after that there is nothing. So I have a limited time where I have to do so many things. So we have lust, we have desires, we have to complete so many things before we die, our goals and all. So it has a relation with death.
Yes.
But if human never die, human once born and never die, what does it mean? There is no point of time.
Right. Yes.
Right? It has relation with the death,
yes.
the time. So our consciousness is controlled by time, and time is something which is limited. So my consciousness is my past. I mean, the way through which I'm living my life is related to my experiences, and my experiences are my past.
Yes.
So my memory, my past is limited because my experiences are limited. And I'm living through this limited data, which is my past experiences,
Yes.
right? So this which is limited can come under time.
Right.
So myself is limited, right? If myself is limited, myself comes under time.
Right.
And if myself is coming under time, and that is not my real self, it's my illusionary self. Through yoga, we find our real self. There is another self of mine which is not limited, which is never born, never died, as many religions says about Ruh, about soul. Soul is never born, never died, kind
Yes.
of thing. So my soul is my real self, and this soul is not limited with time because it never born and never died. So there is nothing, something which is limited with time.
Right.
So Sutra is saying the Ishvara is not limited with time,
Yes.
and that's why whoever connect this consciousness with the consciousness of Ishvara,
Right.
Ishvara, we understood that it is a special consciousness, right?
Yes.
Whoever will be connected with that special consciousness, which is not limited with time, will receive a knowledge which is not coming from this limited data, which is not coming from
Right.
our memory, a
Yes.
higher knowledge
Yes.
one will receive. So that person who have received the higher knowledge by connecting with something which is beyond the time, right, which
Yes.
is Ishvara,
Yes.
one will become a guru.
Right.
Now one can guide to the people, one can tell people that the way you are living a life, perhaps it's not a right way of living a life. Right way of living a life is that if you do the right work, right deeds, right actions,
Yes.
then you can live with more energy, with less suffering, because one have been connected with that element which is beyond the time, which is beyond the memory, beyond the experiences. So Sutra is saying that Ishvara is a guru of all the gurus.
Right.
Those have been in the past.
Right. This idea of being guru of all gurus, first of all, means that even the greatest gurus we find on earth, the greatest priests, spiritual guides, ultimately get their consciousness, their inspiration from a much larger supreme source. It
Supreme
comes from
consciousness. Yeah,
somewhere.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
it's through the process of connection with Ishvara that they receive this consciousness and they can
Right.
spread this word to other people. So does this mean, once again, just to clarify, because yes, we're doing a study of consciousness, that this sort of access to having this extremely open consciousness is for anyone? There's no difference really between a person who has attained it and who has not. It's just that they have followed certain steps, but by the understanding, it's that everyone, every human being can enter into this higher level of consciousness.
Can enter into it. It simply means, in other words, we can say the same thing to meeting with Ishvara. We can also say that one who will become free from their past conditionings.
Yes.
If one become completely free from the past conditioning,
Yes.
and established totally with present moment,
Yes.
that is where one meets the Ishvara.
Right.
Because
Yes.
now the one will look at the world, one will experience the world without the past conditioning,
Yes.
without the self-centeredness.
Yes.
So now one will see that everything is one, everything is divine, the divinity one will experience.
Yes. Yes.
And this is what most of the philosophers and most of the, we call it darshanik people, those have gone through cognition, the direct cognition, right? Darshanik, they have been saying that Ishvara, the God, is in every single particle.
Yes.
What does it mean? They have reached to a consciousness which is beyond time,
Yes.
which is not limited with time,
Yes.
which is not just coming from your past.
Yes. Yes.
The free consciousness which has no conditioning at all.
Yes.
That consciousness merge you with the supreme consciousness, which is universe.
You know, in one of the Buddhist you know, there's many ways of practicing Buddhism, and in one of them there's this term, a very significant term in the practice actually. It's what all the followers kind of repeat to themselves again and again, and the term says the oneness of mentor and disciple. The oneness of mentor and disciple, that they become one. From what I understand, there's a challenge sometimes in understanding this idea of oneness of mentor and disciple, because first of all, mentor might be taken literally as a being on earth, like a man, you know, your highest priest or your highest propagator of that philosophy or that religion. So one might think that by becoming one with them, you are literally, for example, envisioning that leader all the time in your mind, and, you know, trying to feel that leader's compassion or energy within you. But I think, understanding from the sutras point of view, it goes much beyond that person, right? It's got nothing to do with that person. That person is embodied this higher consciousness. So for you as a disciple to become one with them, you also have to embody the higher consciousness.
Higher consciousness, because the person who is in between me and divinity is just working as the channel.
Yes.
So my goal is not the person, my goal is the source from where he's receiving the energy, because it's like one is receiving energy from the universe and putting it into you.
Yes.
My goal is universe, not the person, not the medium.
Yes.
But my goal is the energy through which the energy is flowing, not that. I have got nothing to do with the medium. I've got to do something with energy.
Yes.
That is the goal.
Yes.
Yeah. And even one saying is also there. If I translate it in English, it says, if there is a right guru will never let you become attached with him.
Yes.
Right guru, because if you become attached with guru, then you become attached with the medium only. Then you forget about the source.
Yes.
Then you become limited with that. Then again, you never go to the beyond time. Limitations means under time. Unlimited means beyond time.
Right. So, but again, taking the example of Buddhism, for example, yes, in, say, even today in the 21st century, perhaps there are a few different mediums, a few prominent flag bearers, or, you know, the highest people preaching Buddhism. The gurus. But ultimately, it's all connected with the Buddha, right? Without Buddha, without Gautama Buddha, there's no source of Buddhism. But Buddha himself is a channel in that sense of what we are discussing.
He's a channel, exactly. But it is controversial. It is just a play of words. If I merged with the channel, if I merged with the channel myself, so channel is already merged with the source.
Yes, right.
So I get merged with the source. It's the same thing, actually.
Yes.
So rather going into the words, just go into the practicality. If we go into practical, if we do it, if I merge with the guru, if I become guru, as you said, the guru and the shishya, the guru and the disciples become one. It means the union of guru and disciple become a union of body and supreme consciousness. Because guru is already connected with supreme consciousness.
Yes. So in that, Buddha, even Gautama Buddha was not propagating to become connected to him as Buddha, the man on earth. He was propagating to become connected with the supreme consciousness as well.
Yeah, what I found in Buddha's teaching is in this way is very intelligent, because Buddha is saying not to connect with Buddha. Buddha is saying connect with yourself.
With your inner Buddha, yes.
With your inner Buddha. This is what Buddha is teaching, which is very nice, because Buddha is very aware. Like in the past, what have been happening, people get attached with the body.
Yes.
With another body, like another guru. So they become limited when they get attached with guru, not surrendered into guru, but attached with it.
Yes.
Because they create a thought that he is the guru and she is a guru, and they are something higher authority. They are something greater. And then they become limited. They never become equal to them.
Yes.
So Buddha is saying, rather thinking about me, rather putting your awareness on me, put your awareness on your day-to-day activities. Watchfulness is a main, like mindfulness, watchfulness is a main concept of Buddhism. If you will get connected with yourself, you will get connected with Ishvara.
Yes.
I am not different than Ishvara. Actually, I need to look at it through a higher awareness.